Hello, guys. Welcome to Monitoring and Evaluation Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to this channel because on a regular basis, I post updates in M&E. So today we're going to be looking at the Sustainable Development Goals report, but in particular, we'll be looking at what has been achieved around goal number 2, okay? Now, why is this important, guys? Okay, why is this important? Why are we interested as M&D professionals to look at these things? Because the truth is that it is your job to be monitoring this stuff. If you're an M&D specialist, M&D coordinator, manager, you need to be monitoring this stuff because in most cases, one, it affects everyone, and two, these sustainable development goals need to be aligned to your projects in your own home country. Okay, believe it or not. So as usual, this video is long, and if you want to skip certain parts of it, utilize the timestamps. Please utilize the timestamps because it will help you skip the parts which you may not be interested to read. Okay, so now the issue is that we've got how many sustainable development goals are there? How can I forget? Okay, let's go up a bit. Let's just go scroll up a bit. Let's just see. Sorry about this, guys. It's just so that we build some momentum here. Okay, yeah. So they are supposed to be 17, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there are 17 sustainable development goals. All right, so goal number 2, last time I talked about goal 1. So goal 2 is zero hunger. End hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. So now, in its opening paragraph, it mentions that eradicating hunger and achieving food security remains a challenge, more so in the wake of the COVID-19 crisis. At the global level, hunger and food security have been on the rise, and malnutrition still affects millions of children. So sad. You know, guys, I don't remember the last time I saw photos of a child that has malnutrition. And to hear that it's still on the rise is very sad. Let's continue reading. The situation is likely to get worse owing to economic slowdowns and disruptions caused by a pandemic triggered recession. In addition to COVID-19, the desert locust upsurge in 6 Eastern African countries and Yemen, where 35 million people are already experiencing acute food insecurity, remains alarming. To mitigate the threats posed by the pandemic to vulnerable populations, countries need to take immediate action to keep trade flowing, to strengthen food supply chains, and to increase agriculture production. So already, looking at the opening paragraph, if you can see this, if you can see what I'm saying, guys, already when you just read the opening paragraph, you can tell that this goal already is not achieving much. Okay. And of course, the COVID-19 has really done more harm, has done a lot of harm actually, too much harm. If you look at the East African countries, I remember hearing this on the news about the desert locusts, you know, the impact they had on the agricultural produce. It's so sad. Okay, so now they are saying 35 million people are already experiencing acute food insecurity. Okay, so this is acute food insecurity. So now the funny thing, guys, is that the world, the whole world, we produce as a world. You just Google this at your own time. I won't do it for you. Google it, you'll find that actually the world does produce enough food. It produces a lot because I heard rumors that at some point some of this food is going to waste. You see, why isn't there any deliberate effort to channel this excess amount of food to the poor? Okay. I don't want to get political here, but I think there's a fight between what we know as social responsibility and business. Because when you have the food industry, they obviously want to make money, but at the same time, who is going to pay when they have to, take this excess food to other parts of the world? So that's a debate for another day. But what is even more interesting when you look at the opening paragraph is that they are saying that countries need to immediately take action to keep trade flowing. How is that possible in this COVID-19 when people are on lockdown? All right, and when restrictions are stiffened? Okay, maybe there are things are reopening now, but I don't know. And then they're saying to strengthen food supply chains, there is need to increase. Okay, so they're saying also to strengthen food supply chains. Okay, so these supply chains, how do you strengthen them? Okay, how do you strengthen them? That is also left hanging. And increase agriculture production. And this has always been there. But the question is, how do we do it? Who is going to finance it? Okay, so let's look at the more in detail what this is telling us. Okay, so recent increases in food insecurity are likely to worsen as a result of COVID-19. Since 2014, the global prevalence of undernourishment, chronic food insecurity, has remained virtually unchanged at slightly below 9%. All right. Since 2014, the global prevalence of undernourishment has remained virtually unchanged at slightly below 9%. However, the total number of people going hungry has slowly increased for several consecutive years. Almost 690 million people were undernourished in 2019, up by nearly 60 million from 2014. That's alarming, guys. That's really alarming. Let's continue. It says eliminating hunger alone will not ensure that everyone has access to sufficient nutritious food. Wow. Okay, that is so now we can see this what they are saying. They are saying that even if you eliminate hunger, there's that category of people who may not be hungry, but they're not having sufficient food. So I really don't know what we are achieving at the end of the day. Because I would have thought that if we are saying we are eliminating hunger, then the people who are not hungry are not only not hungry, but they are also having sufficient nutritious food. You see what I'm saying? Because I mean, okay, of course you might justify that having at least half a cake is better than a full cake, at least you have something. But at the end, what are we really trying to achieve? Because I mean, imagine the whole world had no sufficient food. Would you say that there's zero hunger and you celebrate? I don't think so. Okay, so it says an estimated 25.9% of the global population, 2 billion, were affected by moderate or severe food insecurity. All right. So, okay, so let's just look at the statistics. Yeah, maybe I know if we read here, we will definitely get more bad news. But they're saying here prevalence of moderate or severe food insecurity, 2014 and 2019 averages. So in sub-Saharan Africa, 18%. Okay, so what statistics are these? Okay, so these are the most, so the bar below is the most recent statistics. So there's severe food insecurity in 21% in Africa. Okay, so anyway, maybe just in a nutshell, we look at these bars. Africa seems worst hit, Asia seems also worst hit, Latin America. But if you go down, you definitely get to see that Europe and Northern America are okay. They're doing very fine. I think these are the percentages we need to see worldwide. This is what we need to have. What you are seeing in Europe and North America should be worldwide. I don't like this average percentage. It can be misleading. It's better you look at the continents and see which ones are really affected. Okay, so you can see that really sad, 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 sad. Okay, let's go further. Small scale food producers already disadvantaged are being hit hard by the effects of the pandemic. Okay, so we don't even need to go too much into how businesses are faring because we already know, we can already see it. Actually, it's all over the news. So I think this is not something we need to spend our time. Okay, all right. So they're saying urgent actions are especially needed to protect the nutritional status of the most vulnerable children during the pandemic. So, you know what is alarming is that children are going hungry. It's so sad. What can be done? Okay, and what can be done to help these children? All right. So maybe let's see. Maybe we can read one or two things here. Uh, okay, I think I'll maybe let's start by looking at this subheading. The incidence of overweight in young children is increasing, a warning sign for future health problems. Okay, this is interesting. Let's read what they have to say. Childhood overweight is recognized as a global public health problem because of its pernicious influence. Okay, on the incidence of acute and chronic diseases, healthy development, and the economic productivity of individuals and societies. In 2019, 5.6% children under age 5 worldwide were overweight. The current global prevalence represents a medium level of severity. Okay. Okay, so obviously this one is talking about overweight children. And I doubt if maybe we need to read, but of course we can appreciate that even there are two sides of the scale. You have those who are overweight, you have also those who are malnourished. Okay. Okay, so let's go here. So they're saying investment in agriculture relative to its contribution to the economy. Public investment in agriculture can enhance productivity, okay, attract private investment and help reduce poverty and hunger. The share of government contribution to agriculture compared with the sector's contribution to GDP, known as the Agriculture Orientation Index, fell from 0.42 to 0.31 in 2015 and 0. Worldwide. Okay. Meanwhile, the share of sector allocation aid to agriculture from all donors fell from nearly representing and fell. Okay, let me read it completely. Fell from nearly 25% in the mid 1980s to only 5% in 2018, representing $12.8 billion. The fall in agriculture aid is due to a shift in donor focus to social sector issues such as improving governance, building social capital, and helping fragile states. Okay, so what does this tell us? I think there is a big problem worldwide. Maybe this is something the United Nations can address. Governments need to commit their budget to agriculture production. Okay, they just have to. There is no two way about it. You know, this hunger situation has been going on for many years, all right? For many years. I've heard about it even when I was young. It has been going on. Why can people realize that in order to have food security, there must be a system in place where the governments commit to ending hunger? And it all starts from the budget. It really starts from the budget. So I don't know what to say. It's probably our fault globally that this thing is happening, and definitely it is, because even the donors are not looking at it as a priority anymore. Food production. Anyway, a debate for another day. Okay, rising food prices were mostly concentrated in sub-Saharan Africa in 2019. Yeah, I agree with this. Sharp increase in food prices were largely concentrated in sub-Saharan Africa in 2019, driven by production shocks, macroeconomic difficulties, and prolonged conflict. Yeah. So what do you think about this report, guys? In my own view, I think when I look at it, it's a sad story. It has been happening for a very long time. With the COVID-19 pandemic, it presents additional problems. So when I look at this report, I think that this is one indicator that's just going to continue even after the sustainable development goals. Because look at this, for instance, they're saying that in Africa, there has been macroeconomic difficulties and prolonged conflict. How many times have we heard of conflict in Africa? As long as that is there, we should be continuing to see this. As long as governments don't commit themselves to increasing budgets to support agriculture, then we should continue seeing this problem. So I feel that what they are saying, and one thing I like about this report, they are not sugarcoating things, they're telling the truth. End hunger, I think this is very, very far-fetched. Especially that even when you end hunger, there are people who are undernourished, who will still be undernourished, not getting sufficient nourishment from the food. Because when you say end hunger, I mean people should be having enough food when you say end hunger. But according to the United Nations, even when they end hunger, there will be still people without sufficient nutritional content in their food. What do you think of this, guys? Please write to me and let's talk about this. I've been your host, Coach Alexander. Until we meet again, see you on the other side. Bye.